It's time for bike news this week. We've got new products that are changing the industry, continued big discounts, and shop owners tell us how they're really doing. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, Josh here again with Daily Mountain Bike Rider, and it's time to give you another update on all the cool things happening in the mountain bike industry you might have missed. So without further ado, let's jump in. And today we're really jumping in because I got a green screen production value upgrade. First, let's talk about bikes and products. And the first really cool thing for the mountain bike world is Reserve wheels. If you haven't heard of Reserve wheels, they kind of came out of Santa Cruz bikes. They would sell these Reserve wheels. Now they're their own brand. They make very high-end carbon wheels that cost in the range of $1,800 to $2,000, but they come with a lifetime warranty. That is until today when they introduced something even better. That's right, they have new aluminum wheels with a lifetime warranty for only $700 with DT Swiss 350 hubs. When I saw this, I couldn't believe it. A lifetime warranted aluminum wheel means they're confident this is going to be a better wheel than any other aluminum wheel out there. And for the price, think about this. You can transfer this from bike to bike to bike. And if you ever have a problem and you're the original owner, you're set. And this price point is amazing. And the specs on what you get, this is going to be a great wheel overall. And only time will tell how durable these are. But at this price, I don't need wheels, but I want to buy them. And one interesting thing, your hub actually goes up to an Industry 911 hub for a Super Boost 157 spacing for the same price. And this includes an XD driver or an HG or microspline, which is just insane. Thank you so much Reserve Wheels for bringing the price of things down. Speaking of low prices, Specialized said they're only gonna have their crazy deals for the month of January, and we are now in February and they still have crazy deals. That's right, their Status 160s are still selling brand new for $2,250. I don't think these prices are going anywhere because I think they have a ton of inventory. Jumping over to some general industry news, MIPS, this has been known for a while now, but Pink Bike covered it, so I'll mention it. They've had a huge decrease in sales. Year over year, they saw a 46% reduction in helmet purchases. Helmets are the baseline safety things that we use to ride bikes and other outdoor equipment. And to see that figure drop so big shows that there's a lot of helmets out on the market. People are wanting to buy more. And I think this is cluing us into what the bike market is going to look like this next year. And again, I'm not saying the bike industry is going anywhere. I just believe we're gonna see a huge pendulum swing from people buying anything and everything in the bike industry to now not buying much except for what they need. And I'm gonna point more to that when I talk about bike owners. But interestingly enough, SRAM is going to open a new facility in Taiwan. SRAM is basically saying we're killing it, we know what we're doing, and so they're gonna open a new 100,000 square meter facility. I'm in the States, so I don't know what a square meter is, but that sounds huge and it looks big. And SRAM obviously knows something we don't. Maybe they're gonna manufacture something else to make money. But last but not least, and hopefully the reason you clicked this video, is what are bike shop owners saying? And I puzzled this question. I need to ask my local bike shops, I will admit that. But I found this article really interesting. It's a state of retail. And this covers different bike shop owners from all over the country, which I think is good, because then you just don't get my insight from here in Bellingham, Washington, but you get it from everywhere. And each of these bike shop owners has some very interesting feedback to give, and one of them I found pretty shocking. First up, over in Boise, Idaho, we got Jason Bauer, owner of Bauer House Bikes. And he says that they have not been particularly affected by excess inventory. For those of you who don't know, there's a couple great videos out there. Check out this one in one of the corners. And this is a bike shop owner talking about the problem that we have, from manufacturing, shipping, and then to the distributors, and then ultimately to the bike shops. And there's a lot of inventory out there for a ton of products. Now, that's not all products. You may still be waiting on those Shimano brake pads. They're really tough to find. But in a lot of places, there's excess inventory. And he goes on to say that they're a specialty bike builder, so they aren't experiencing the problems most bike shops are, but they do have an excess of inventory on a few categories that are bread and butter. These are things like chains, brake pads, and stuff that doesn't go bad. It may not go bad, but if everybody has loads and loads, it causes the price to go down, which other bike shop owners are talking about. Now, here's somebody who is very honest. This is in Walla Walla, Washington, in my neck of the woods. And this is Catherine Austin. She's the owner of Allegro Cyclery. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And she's saying she wishes she would have listened to her instincts when they were making a ton of money in 2020 and 2021. She said, we have a lot of excess inventory and we're putting so much of it on sale, but even that is not helping because it's the off season. And so I'm curious to see if this is going to spill into the regular season, if they're going to be able to get rid of their inventory. She said they're also canceling most of their pre-season orders, realizing they already have too much inventory, they don't want to take in any more. Going a little further down, I found what I think is the most interesting article. This comes from Hopkins, Minnesota. This is Jonathan Minks, owner of Johnny Rock Bikes. Love the name, man. But he goes on to say that they are holding 40 new bread and butter model bikes in boxes. These are bikes that are lower price points, probably under the $1,000 range. And he's saying they normally only have 10 to 15, but they have a lot more. And he's saying he's not buying anything new unless it's a no-brainer and an immediate need. He goes on to say that he recently picked up some SRAM Eagle rear derailleurs for 15 bucks each. I hope those are SX because that's a crazy good deal, or NX or whatever you call them. But he goes on to say something very, very interesting. He said, I had a feeling MSRP would drop and the brick and mortars would lose their margins to be competitive with online sellers who are aggressively slashing prices, which is not surprising, right? Is if you have a wider audience online, you can sell more product. But he goes on to say, I'm sure I'm gonna get backlash here. Not from me, man. I think this is great. But he says, retailers should not be discounting. What is discounting? Do we drop the price of the bike, or do we find high margin items to include to cushion the hit? He goes, with my corporate sales background, one of the things I've noticed in our industry is that most shops have no idea how to sell. We could teach the art of selling all day here. Here's what I feel like he's saying, and I'm curious if you agree with me or not. He's going, why are we discounting? Why does the bike industry feel like for local brick and mortar shops, all they have to do is sell the product at retail until they have way too much and then cut the prices like crazy? What it creates is an understanding from a consumer like me and you, is that those things don't actually cost the bike shops that much, and so they should really be creating more and more discounts. And what he's saying here is, hey, instead of just cutting prices over and over and over to the point where it hurts the brick and mortar, keep the price just a little bit lower and throw in more things that a customer may need, like helmets, like jerseys, like spare tubes, or just things they need to fix their bike that have a high profit margin so that bike shops can stay in business. If you cut the prices too low from manufacturers like Specialized we saw earlier, it only hurts the brick and mortar stores. It doesn't hurt the manufacturers as much. So I think he has a really good point, and I would go support Johnny Rock Bikes if you're in the Minnesota area. And last but not least, another interesting take over in California from El Camino Bike Shop. He says suppliers are starting to charge dealers for bikes they ordered and now don't want to take them. Basically, in order to stay afloat, suppliers are saying, hey, you guys have to pay us something from all these orders that you're not taking anymore because we're seeing it all over. All this to say, I think the industry is going to continue to hurt. I'm going to keep you up to date on all the news I hear. And more than that, if you have news and information, please feel free to share it with me on Instagram. Just this last week, I heard from a friend of mine who said that he works at a local bike shop. It's called Mike's Bikes. It's not that local, it's pretty big now. And they're finding ways to save money by paying employees less because they know that they're going into tough times. And I think that's a recurring theme we're seeing in a lot of bike shops. That's it for today. You know what time it is. Don't spend too much time watching a guy talk about the bike industry in his garage. But get out there, ride your bike, and make sure you do it every day.